Welcome to the Motoring Podcast, your weekly discussion of motoring news. This is episode 147 on Tuesday, the 28th of November 2017. Hello, I'm Alan.
Hello, I'm Andrew, and this week we will be talking about budget idiocy. Industry standard white paper ignores its biggest challenge. Nissan tries to save all the R32s, and Project Ellie update. But first,
two of those are yay, and the other two are
Yes, well, let's get the out the way, and we will talk about the budget for autumn 2017. And first of all, in the show notes will be the Motoring Research article, and I would like to congratulate Andrew Brady for picking possibly the best picture of Philip Hammond I have seen. He's really giving that whole vibe of this is going to hurt you a lot more than it's going to hurt me. You have no idea. So I think you've captured the essence of the budget quite well there, Andrew. Well
I actually think he said it keeps looking like he's trying to blow me a kiss, and it's really, really freaking me out. Actually,
his lips follow you around the room. Is that what you're saying?
I move my iPad around, the lips follow me around. Yes.
Okay, so motorists, what did the budget hold for us? Well, he continued to freeze fuel duty. Now, I've got a serious question, though. Should this just be removed because no politician is ever going to put up fuel duty unless they are committing political suicide? Because there isn't a sector of this country that's going to go, brilliant move, well done. Every element of the press will slam them for that. So I think this is they just keep this because it's a simple, easy, low-hanging fruit, open goal, some of the cliche of that ilk.
It's a nice thing for them not to do every year. And it's something they can say, look, we're being generous. We're not applying this thing that we could be applying. As a result of that, I don't think they're going to get rid of it because they're politicians. And I think that all the time they can spin something like that as opposed to, look, we're helping you by not being evil sods. Might not be the first word that jumped into my head just there. We're not being evil sods, so look how wonderful we are. So I think they'll keep it purely so they can not implement it.
So they can pretend to look good.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one of the other big things was that there is going to be a massive investment in EV infrastructure and stuff like this. Now this, and it shocks me to say, I think was a good thing that there was announced.
Yes.
And I applaud it, and I think more of this should happen. And it's great because I think it will help people. It will help more chargers be available to people, so then people will realize that having an electrified vehicle is more practical. And it may also mean for many that they don't actually have to be able to charge from home to make it work for them, which is one of the stumbling blocks that people feel there is at the moment, that, there's no way I can charge at home, so therefore I can't have one. However, if you have a sufficient infrastructure near you, you can adapt the way that you go about life that will then mean that your vehicle can be charged sufficient for you to get around most of the time, day to day or whatever. So I think that's a good move. He then went on, and this actually, I was stunned over this, to be honest, when he went on to talk about autonomous vehicles and how nothing epitomizes the future more than autonomous vehicle. And he made a joke. People have gone on, he's made a joke about Clarkson, and it's a politician, so obviously it's not a funny joke. It's almost like a Shakespearean joke.
At least it's an attempt at a joke.
Yeah, but is the budget the place for that? Perhaps not.
No.
What got me was that he made a joke about someone who has direct experience of being driven in a car using autonomous or driver assistance technology, who has come out and said, this is not ready yet, which he made a joke about that to say, they're coming on the roads and there's going to be non-drivered, driverless vehicles by 2021. And I think that is appalling from a politician, where people have said it's not ready. that are listened to by many people. It's not ready. The technology is not ready now to be released without assistance or without further development or without somebody being behind the wheel to take over at a moment's notice, to then just ignore that and go, oh, but that doesn't matter, but we're still going to release it. I don't know. Why don't you feed your child a hamburger in the middle of mad cow disease?
There are a lot of
it's
people.
that sort of stupid action that just go, that could do more damage than good.
Oh, you're right. You are getting shouty tonight. Yes, you're right. As well as the shouty bit, you're quite correct, because if there's one thing, there are many reasons why people can say that they dislike Jeremy Clarkson, they dislike Jeremy Clarkson's opinions. The one reason, one of the extremely invalid reasons to do that and to ignore him is to say that he's not an expert, because the man is an expert. So in vehicles and in cars, and he's driven a lot of cars, way more than many politicians have had, dodgy expenses in. That he actually has experience of vehicles. It's one of those things you get being an automotive journalist for 20 odd years.
And the rest,
25, getting on for 30 years of experience in that. I mean, it's just like, why pick on Jeremy Clarkson? Why not any of the other esteemed motoring journalists of this country or anywhere else? It's a cheap gag.
But miss the opportunity to say we are listening to people's concerns, but this stuff will be safe by then, or something like that. But just to go, you've said it's unsafe, ignore that. It's up there. We don't want to listen to. No one wants to listen to experts or anything like that. It's that sort of glib throwaway comment that is actually has the potential to cost autonomous vehicles, or autonomous driving technology, the opportunity to do good where it can, and for people to accept it, and for concerns to be listened to. And that annoyed me quite a lot, actually, in case that hadn't come through. But the final real class act was putting in from 1st of April 2018, sticking
6th
in
of April 2018. We're very good at picking up where other people have been a bit wrong. So it is from 6th of April 2018.
Sorry, do apologise. Thank you, my colleague. From the 6th of April, that there will be an extra charge if you have a diesel-engined vehicle from new that does not meet the real-world testing regime.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You were right. That was 1st of April 2018. 6th of April 2018 was something slightly different.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. So to clarify, from the first
higher first year, 1st of April 20. I will dig myself out of this one. Hopefully, 1st of April 2018, you'll be hit with a higher first-year tax rate unless they conform to the latest real-world driving standards, which is great. So they've said it's real-world driving standards, and it's real-world driving standards 2. I can't remember the acronym. It's not in the
RDE2.
Thank you, RDE2. Nothing meets RDE2 right at the minute. I'm correct.
No, it's even better than that, Alan. We won't know if anything.
Nobody's decided what.
No one will know
if
anything does until 2020 when RDE2 tests come in. Just unbelievable. Why didn't you just say we're going to make it illegal to own a diesel engine car from 1st of April? 2 years you can't buy one. You might as well have said that. Just talk about ripping people off.
It's just
unbelievable.
Oh God, I've had a hard day. This is the last thing I need. I'm not, by the way, as pink as I look on camera. For those of you watching the video, my blood pressure isn't that high, but it's just so beyond belief. The thing that was on the 6th, I'm moving on because I just have nothing to say to that because it's so ludicrous. Moving on, the thing that's 6th of April 2018, by the way, is the diesel supplement for benefit in kind tax. If you have a diesel vehicle as a company car, will increase from 3% to 4%. So that's what's happening on the 6th of April.
Is that for Even if you've got one now, or is it for new ones?
I believe it's even if you've got one now.
Oh, wow.
I think it will be all diesel company cars.
You know what? You might as well put the fuel duty up. Because then you'd be honest that you're trying to rip people off. That's just outrageous, just hitting people who've got no choice. But it's okay. We're going to increase productivity and how...
well, let's get on to the next story before you actually explode.
We're going to pull the country out of all this mess by just taxing everyone out. Anyway, there will be links in the show notes to an excellent article that gets almost as ranty as me on Company Car Today, talking about this stuff, that was written by Paul Barker. Do encourage you to go read that. But let us move away from the...
And there's also links to the Society of Motor Manufacturing and Traders response to the budget as well, which has a number of quite nice quotations in there. To Company Car Today is there as well. Autocar, why the new diesel tax rules are a farce. As well, by the way, pointing out that today's news of new tech, well, today's 22nd November's news of new taxation for diesel cars has left everyone utterly confused because nobody knows what it is, and the RDE2 stuff is key in there as well.
Right, good. Let's move on, Alan.
Meanwhile, we are all going to be saved. All going to be saved, absolutely, because from 2022, pardon me, the government wants all UK-made cars to use 50% British parts, which, yeah, I mean, this all comes, a lot of this comes from a government-backed organization called the Advanced Propulsion Centre. Lots of good words in there. Advanced is good, propulsion is good. Centre's even pretty decent, so you're well over 66% on the good word score. Which is a government-backed organization opened earlier this year with the ambition of designing, developing, and producing batteries in Britain. So by advanced propulsion, they mean electric. It isn't quite as ludicrous as it sounds right at the moment. The percentage of parts from British-built cars was 36% in 2011, 44% in 2016. So really, it's another 4% increase.
Yeah.
Are you going to ask how much British is British?
Well, yeah. How far down the chain of tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 suppliers who will then import parts to become? At what point does it become British to then be put in? I don't know that, but that's something we have to be careful as a country, and this white paper has to be careful that we get that mix right, because does that not affect under export import rules? Because do you need to get to 50% to then be called a British built car for export import rules and all that sort of stuff?
Is it British built, or is it British concept, or is it British?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's many flavors then, isn't there? And yes. I presume there's different tariffs on different flavors.
It's like putting a Union flag on an MG.
Okay, that's what it may be soon anyway. Or we'll be sticking a Chinese flag on
the edge. We might as well. Sticking a Chinese flag on a Range Rover.
Yeah, so the thing that really that I was incredibly impressed with this industrial strategy that was announced to great fanfare and much hullabaloo, this industrial strategy white paper from the government, was that they chose to ignore the biggest challenge they've got in the short to medium term, which is Brexit.
Oh, that, yes. Well, that'll all be fine. People voted for it,
Yes. Stop being unpatriotic.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so I mean, I saw plenty of quotes from Peter. I've just got mind blank.
Peter Bunyan.
No, from the chap from the FT. Does their motoring. My mind's just gone blank. But he was tweeting out a few quotes from people in the motoring industry that were along the lines of, yeah, we're not worried about productivity. We've got that covered. We're worried about how do we get our stuff in and out, and how do we get and keep good people. And that's pick an industry, pick a factory, and they're all worried about that. They're not worried about, can we make enough stuff? That's not what they're worried about.
That's not an issue. We are fantastically productive. Our factories in the UK are wonderfully productive. The Nissan plant in Sunderland, most productive in the whole of Europe by quite some margin. And that's
despite the lack of investment in infrastructure like road and rail and seaports that we've had in this country for the last 10, 15 years. That's despite it. We are still world class at producing stuff. Getting things to a factory in time, that we were discussing last week, getting things to a factory in time so that we can build it to a incredibly good standard that people spend money.
Yeah.
Generally.
People spend money.
Generally. Right. Okay, I think, well, no.
The next one's yours. I know that you've done most of the talking on that last one.
I know, sorry about that. When we say talking, maybe shouting. Right.
A little bit.
Not as bad as the first one. More new news. And apparently, recorded vehicle offences are at their highest level since 2007. So, and this is for 2016, because obviously we're still in 2017. So, we are at 3.06 million offences being recorded, and the highest was back in the highest previous to that was 2007, which is 3.33 million.
I'm so juvenile. I just want to go, yes, win!
Yeah, we're doing better at something.
Yes, we're better at offending.
Apparently, speeding has really helped us. 2.15 million recorded. That's up 28,000.
Which is really a very, very... No, just hang on a second here. 28,000 more than 2015. 28,000 out of 2.15 million is really not that much. Sorry, that's
a rounding error.
I believe that is almost a rounding error, yeah.
Going by it's within 3%. Our scientific methods of measurement and consistency.
Well, 28,000 is 1,000. So 28,000. If it was 21,000, it'd be 1,000th. So yes, I would say that's a rounding error.
Well, one of the questions I want to ask is, how many more cameras do we have?
There are quite a few more cameras.
So is it actually, this is only these are only increases in people being recorded. This is not an increase in offences happening. This is just recorded in court.
Well, the thing is that the license, insurance, and record-keeping offences, which are also in there, which were previous at their highest in 2011, have increased by 31,000 as well. And I don't know if it's maybe it's the joys of Twitter and social media and stuff, and the police sharing that they're doing this and sharing that they're stopping vehicles more. But that's quite that's quite significant. I mean, if you're wondering why it's record-keeping offences, then of course that's tachographs and driver's hours offences that it's talking about there. Again, with license and insurance. I just feel that they're focusing on that a little more. It means that we've got proper police actually out on the roads, rather than purely relying on the cameras as well.
I don't think we have. I think it is the camera. A lot of this is the cameras. They will see. They will see a car. It will be registered. It will be checked digitally. Without anyone needing, or in the ideal world, how the system is supposed to work, it'll be checked digitally. And they'll look at the records and they'll have from a picture, it's supposed to be a woman, and look, that's a bloke with a beard, clearly not a woman, that sort of thing. And they'll go, right, and then
that's not quite working though.
You're not the person who should be driving that or who's registered driving that. It's that sort of thing. I think we're getting more and more cameras to try and mask the fact that we have less police out there.
I don't know, and I have no means of proving one way or the other. Should we move on about speaking of driving standards, though?
Good segue.
It was. I was quite proud of that, actually. Yeah.
Or however it should be pronounced. Sorry, Neil.
Yeah, you're in trouble now.
Okay. I'm bringing back Rear View. Maybe that makes up for it. And it's a whopper. It's a whopper of an episode. So hopefully that
make
makes
up for the last little while. Half complete. You see, you completely trashed that now.
I'm here to help.
So anyway, yes, obviously. The driving test. Driving test will change from the 4th of December
Monday
this year. Which is, oh gosh, that is just on Monday. Yeah. So if you are taking a driving test on Monday, maybe it's a good idea to understand that there's the areas. So the independent part of none of these. Now that I flick through here, none of these were actually. Well, okay, we had reversing maneuvers, but none of these actually existed when I took my driving test, which is a little bit worrying. So the independent part of the driving test is going to be increased to 20 minutes. It's currently 10 minutes. And what has to happen is that you, as the driver, have to drive without turn-by-turn directions from the driving manager, the driving examiner. So it's essentially a case of, okay, so you're going to drive around a little bit.
Okay.
On your own without being told, at the end of the road, please turn left.
Well, you see, it's so long ago since I did my test, I had to hand crank my car to get it going, and everything was black and white.
Yeah, I believe that, honestly.
That's why I have to have afternoon naps.
Yeah, it's so true. So there'll also be a bit during the independent driving part of the test where you may be asked to follow directions from a sat nav. That's a bit rough. The examiner provides the sat nav, which is a TomTom unit, and has set it all up. So you don't need to set the route. The examiner does it all for you, and then you follow the sat nav. That's kind of tricky, that one, because I find to give you different amounts of warning and all sorts of things. So I guess that given they've said exactly what type of sat nav it is, then you can believe that every decent driving instructor in the country has been out and bought a TomTom Start 52 as well. Yeah, so that will be happening. But yes, there we go. 1 in 5 driving tests won't need a sat nav and will need to follow traffic signs instead.
Ooh, ouch.
That's horrible. Third change, reversing maneuvers will be changed. You will no longer have to reverse around a corner. Or do the turn in the road. The turn in the road one was horrible. I never liked that.
Is that what they call the 3-point turn now?
Yes, because it may take more than 3 points.
Okay. And otherwise, you get failure, and they have to write in green ink on your paperwork, so you don't feel like a loser.
Do they? I think you're reading too much into this. What you will be asked to do is one of 3 other possible reversing maneuvers, one of which is to parallel park at the side of the road, to park in a parking bay, and any of us who have been to the supermarket recently will notice just how few people can actually manage that. In fact, some days I can't manage it. I'm going to be completely honest. You park in a bay, either driving in and reversing out, or reversing in and driving out. The examiner will tell you what you have to do. Always reverse in, people. You pull up to the right-hand side of the road, reverse for 2 car lengths, and then rejoin the traffic. So that's crossing over the road and facing against the traffic. Reverse a 2 car lengths, and then rejoin the traffic again.
Tell you what, I'm going to park my car off the road.
Yeah.
So no one gets that wrong.
Around you. Be fine. And the last one is answering a vehicle safety question whilst you're driving. The examiner will ask you 2 vehicle safety questions during your driving test. These are known as the show me, tell me questions. I think lots of people have been in trouble for that.
In the current climate.
Lots of people have been in lots of trouble for that, for showing and telling lately. So just be careful. The tell me question, which is where you'll explain how you'd carry out a safety task at the start of your test before you start driving. And the show me question, whilst you're driving, for example, showing how to wash the windscreen using the car controls and wipers. I can see the look on your face, Mr. Clues. Other people can't. Yeah. And there's a video. Wow. So there'll be a link to the page that I've almost entirely read out just there, which was actually published on the 15th of April. So news of this has been out for quite some time.
But that page that you did select does back up what we were saying last week about the .gov.uk website. Is incredibly well written and is that your new grim? And is incredibly clear and easy to read and easy to understand, and is an example of how perhaps some websites, particularly ones trying to pass on information, should consider doing things. But that was a good pick. That
actually, by the way, it tells us what the reasons for why. Changes being made because more fatal collisions happening on high-speed roads. Changing the format of the test, not including motorways. Changing the format of the test will allow more of these types of roads to be included in the driving test routes. 52% of car drivers now have a sat-nav and use a sat-nav. And so the Driving Vehicle Standards Agency wants new drivers to be trained to use them safely. And last but not least, research has shown that new drivers find independent driver training valuable, and they can relate to it once they've passed the test. I don't quite know what independent driver training is.
I know. All I heard was that people are idiots. We need to really help them.
Yeah, but that's not just in driving. That's in just about everything. I'll tell you people who aren't idiots, though, Andrew.
Who's that then, Alan?
Our patrons aren't idiots.
They are not. They are smart and gorgeous people. That's what they are.
Awesome, kind people, and a small band to which are joining. So thank you so very much. It makes a huge difference to us, as well as making us all warm, fuzzy, and happy. It helps us pay for hosting. It helps us on occasion pay for kit, other bits and pieces that are needed to actually make this happen. A little bit of travel too. To be honest, we're at the stage where we cover the hosting and we cover the other bits and pieces as well. A little bit. Accommodation, doing jobs around Britain, that kind of fun stuff. But anyway, if you'd like to become a patron and you'd like to be one of these awesome people, and you'd like to know more, then please head to motoringpodcast.com and click on the orange Become a Patron button on the right-hand side of the front page, or go to motoringpodcast.com/support. If you're already a patron, if we haven't made it clear enough, then thank you so very, very much. We know that not everybody is able to support us financially. So the next best things you can do is to like, rate, and leave feedback on the Motoring Podcast, and indeed on Rear View via the podcast player of your choice. iTunes is the biggest and most popular of those, so feel free to do that if you use iTunes. Failing that, something like Stitcher or
Pocket Cast.
Pocket Cast, thank you. Are awesome ways.
I was trying to remember all the ones that are out there because there are so many.
Overcast is very good as well. Yes. Pocket Cast is really good because it's cross-platform.
Yeah.
As well. So thank you so very, very much, people, and we really, really appreciate it.
True, we do. We don't just say that; we do actually mean it.
Oh yeah, totally. Sorry, I don't want to sound like I was slightly.
No, you're not. But just in case anyone was wondering, we really do mean it. So,
big time.
Anyway, Alan, motorsport, it's back.
It's motorsport is back. The Formula One season finished. Now we're into Formula E.
Have some fun.
Some fun. Some
we're
close
logo.
Yeah, some close, exciting racing with the same logo as the last 3 years. Is back. From Saturday, the Formula E comes to us from Hong Kong. So it's qualifying 2 races all on the Saturday, and all the timings and everything from that for Channel 5. And on the Formula E website, there'll be links in the show notes as ever. If you go to the Formula E website right at the minute, you can see such fantastic things as the Techeetah team racing a cheetah. I'm not kidding. It's there. That is like the number one thing on the Formula E website right at the moment. So yes, there's loads of people doing.
It's great. It shows a bit of fun. Because the problem is motorsport. A lot of motorsport is very serious because there is such a serious amount of
There's a lot of money
involved, and that obviously focuses a lot of people's attention because no one's just there chucking it away. But the Formula E people, which is one of the reasons why I have grown to become more interested in it, is they all look like they're having fun and enjoying it as well. And you watch the racing when it gets on the track, it is serious, because I mean, we all remember the video from last year of what was the driver's name, where he was shouting at someone until his mechanic went, "That's not the right chap." So we went, "Right, where is he?" And then stormed off and shouted at the correct chap.
That's terrible.
The drivers mean it. This is serious to them. But then you look at what they do on Twitter, you look at the fan boost and all these other things that we've talked about, and it just makes it fun. It makes you feel involved. I mean, I hardly get a chance to watch any motorsport because I have children and they own my television. But with the times I do, you get to see it, and they look like they're having fun. The presenters look like they are enjoying being there as well. It's not just right, here's a little presentation. Yes, now I'm going to run through my.
Oh no, it's the lovely Nikki Shields. Sorry, yeah. She follows us on Instagram and likes our stuff. Thanks, Nikki.
Does she? All right, that's cool. I did not know that. I did not know that. So
she followed us in season 1,
Ah, excellent. Are you going to be going to any races this year?
I don't know.
Are you hoping to get to any races this year? Sorry,
I always hope to get to races. Berlin would be favourite right at the minute. Berlin or Paris.
We shall see what we can do. Double headers in Europe this year. Is it going to be
possibly Berlin and Paris?
Oh, okay, well that would be convenient then, Alan.
I don't know. I haven't spoken to Graham. I can find that out on Thursday.
Okay, beg.
I shall beg.
Because we're not above begging on this show, as long-time listeners will know. Right. Anyway, there is some news though, isn't there?
There is some news. So
Dragon Racing.
So yeah, and you'll notice that you've called it Dragon Racing, not Faraday Future Dragon Racing, because it's financial and personnel challenges, I think, is a fair statement. So as a result, they have drawn back some of their sponsorships, so they're no longer a title spot for Dragon Racing.
Sorry, I can't avoid it because you were talking when you did it. I know you've had a very tough day, ladies and gentlemen. He has had a very tough day dealing with incredibly. I'm trying to couch this in a nice way. You've been dealing with challenging situations in the work environment.
Very good clients, however, they do ask many questions and like to know the answers to everything. So they're lovely.
Yeah, I wasn't saying they weren't. Just challenging today.
Boy, would I like to go to bed. So it's
that's only because you're talking to me.
There's a double header. There's that too. So it's a double header, by the way, in Hong Kong. So it is both Saturday and Sunday from Hong Kong.
Ah, cool.
Too. So that should be interesting. I'll be trying to do that. What else is there in here? I'm sorry, I'm just looking. No, Formula E car versus a cheetah. So a Techeetah versus a cheetah.
Yeah, so I'll have links to the Autosport article that goes into more detail about how Faraday is no longer involved. There will be the Formula E official page as well on there. So
and Team Boost is already open if you're a Team Boosty person.
Yes, Mahindra has been very busy. If you Team Boost them and it gets sent out, they immediately call it back because I think I'm sure yesterday I watched one of their drivers said, "I've Team Boosted," and he had his own name. And then he came back immediately and went with the generic answer, "Thank you so much for Team Boost. We hope it does well in the race."
They've actually set up a congratulation bot.
Yeah,
that's quite cool. It's Fan Boost. We keep calling it Team Boost. We mean Fan Boost.
Fan Boost, yes.
I'm a moron and said the wrong thing.
Yeah, and I just don't know anything. Everybody.
It's just that when I meet people, they will call me up on it. So.
Good. But as everyone knows, I don't know anything. Right, moving on.
Anyway, old car section.
Yes.
We've done the future. Let's talk about some old cars for a bit.
We've talked earlier in the year about how manufacturers are tapping into their heritage and they are helping to preserve older cars because they see that more of the cars are being kept and looked after and nurtured because people enjoy what has been produced previously when we've got Jaguar now doing restorations. We've got Porsche. Have got their historic garage and servicing team, but now Nissan. Mercedes as well, sorry, yeah. But now Nissan is going to be building new spare parts for Skyline R32s, which is if I'm correct, it's the original, and I do apologize to Skyline nerds, the original Godzilla.
Yes, I think that's a fair, some people would say that the R30, the squarer one before that is.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know enough to commit myself to any particular answers on this topic.
Well, anyway, there's going to be a Nismo heritage scheme. And I personally think this is brilliant because much as I've never driven a Skyline, I think they're fantastic. And I have very fond memories of PlayStations. Where I think,
as do most of us.
I think most of us growing up, this is where we were first encountered them. Encountered them, he says. Very pixelated screen and all the rest of it. But it's fantastic that this older stuff is being kept alive, and manufacturers have spotted this. Okay, they've obviously spotted that there's a revenue potential here, but also that it keeps fans of their cars incredibly happy and loyal because they've made this step to do this. And I think sometimes I'm guilty. I'm not. I don't want to speak for you in this one, Alan, but I'm guilty of looking at a manufacturer and just going, they're just looking at it as a business, and it's just got to make profit and loss, and what do we do to get this better? And it's not always that. There are people involved in here, and there are. I've found through rear view and talking to many people from different manufacturers that so many of these people actually love cars as well.
It's so easy to forget that there are real car folk. I'm not going to say car guys. There are real car folk in the automotive industry. I know that sounds like but we forget that sometimes because it gets overrun by the marketing folk and the sales folk and all that kind of stuff. That the car folk get forgotten about. And I don't just mean the people who build the cars. I mean the people who are like us and who are just car folk. Really.
I mean, you're going to hear that on Friday. I'm doing yet another plug, and I do apologize.
Yeah, nice plug. It is good. It's
okay. But you will hear on Friday from someone who wasn't a car nerd or not from, as soon as they could remember. He's not that, but he's incredibly proud of the work that he's done. And when you hear what he has been involved with, you can understand why and how that has brought this enjoyment and love of cars and getting cars out. And that's great to see. And that gives me some hope, actually, that it isn't all just going to be accountants building cars type thing. That, there are people involved, because we hear about the chap who's in charge of Toyota. And we've seen the pictures of him
Toyota, yeah. He's
drifting,
a car.
Drifting the GT86 around. For and foremost, he loves a car. He loves driving. And that, I think, is important to build confidence for the rest of us that, cars are still going to carry on being good and fun.
They're not just going to be little autonomous blobs, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yes, move on.
Nissan, very quickly. It's good because lots of the stuff that they're going to be doing is the kind of slightly perishable stuff, which since, what is it? When was they finished being built? 2014, something like that. Then it's starting to really suffer. So it's stuff like hoses, it's stuff like wiring looms, it's all these kind of things. So it's the stuff that's really tricky to source. And to fit and to remake to original spec. So great stuff. Brilliant. Thank you, Nissan.
Yes, that's great. And we all hopefully more manufacturers see this as a positive thing, even if it's not a massive earner, and follow suit, please.
Yeah. Awesome.
Right, moving on to further non-autonomous blobs.
Yes. Well, old car restoration as well. Is Ian Seabrook at Hubnut. Is he at Hubnut or is he at Hubnut Vids? I forget. Hubnut Vids.
He's Hubnut on YouTube, but on Twitter is Hubnut Vids.
So he's hub not vids on Twitter. But Ellie 2CV, he's done a finale. He's rounding off the whole rebuild, and just doing a finish up on there. So that's absolutely brilliant. Go on and check that one.
It's a nearly 15-minute video to talk you through the final stages. This includes MOT. This includes driving it afterwards and breaking down, and then fixing it, then breaking down, then being towed, then breaking down, then fixing it. And
I love French cars.
There are many trials and tribulations Ian goes through to get this to the point where he is really satisfied that it's back on the road and it's running and it's usable. Although now you were telling me before, Alan?
It's sawed off the road. All that time and effort has been put into making it rust-free and protected and all these kind of things. So the last thing he wants to do is take it out on salty Welsh roads. So Ellie is having is sawned for the winter, I believe.
No, but I want to say, sorry, I'm interrupting you yet again, Alan. I seem to be doing it all night. But I want to say that I think this is brilliant that someone has gone to the effort of getting a car back on the road, but it could easily have been just left to rot. Okay, it's a 2CV.
I think there's an awful lot of sentiment. It's not just a car.
Yes, quite. And I think it's another factor of this, which has really touched me, is that 138 people parted with cash to help Ian get this back on the road. And there's many other people who've given him time and helped out in other ways because they couldn't produce, they weren't able to do cash. And I think this is just a brilliant thing. And that really warmed my heart that someone just went, I've got this car. I really think it should be back on the road. If you can help me, please help me in any way you can. And people have responded to that. And that is in a rare moment of me being all gushing and emotional, that is fantastic to see. And it is wonderful. And everyone who has been involved in that should be really, really proud of helping out with that, because a fantastic icon has got back on the road and is working, and you've helped make a man very happy to do it. So you should all be very, very proud.
So to follow up, he's got 2 Inva cars, at least one of which is going to be restored. That's what's coming next. So yeah, awesome stuff. Ian has been putting out at least a video a week lately.
Yes, he's been on it. I'm very jealous of his Lexus.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Well, not the MPGs I'd get, but I don't suppose they'd be too dissimilar to what I get now. Actually, to be honest,
no, not really.
It's not. Don't go there. I'll cry, and not happy tears.
Anyway, should we talk about new cars again?
Well, can we talk about something that absolutely gobsmacked me, because what you're about to announce is generally unrubbish.
Yes. I mean, I've joked. I can't even remember how scathing I was last year when it came to the European Car of the Year.
Well, I can't remember how many. I can't remember a year I haven't been scathing of at least one inclusion where you've gone, how much did you pay to get that in?
It's just so normally there is at least one lowest common denominator vehicle in this list. Okay, so the list is we've got a link.
I think this is World Car of the Year. You know,
is it World? It can't be.
Yeah.
No, it just says Car of the Year.
It's not. Yeah. But if you look down,
it says Coty. No, it's a European one.
No.
No, this is going to be European.
Because it gets announced on the 5th of March 2018.
If it was World Car of the Year, there'd be at least one piece of American stuff in here, and there really isn't.
Right.
Seat Ibiza wouldn't be in there for a start.
So there's 60 members in 23 countries.
Yeah. So there's normally at least one sort of middlingly but not rubbish in everyone car gets in. The final shortlist is down to 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7.
So there's 3 SUVs, 2 premium saloons, a sports coupe, and 1 super mini, which, to be honest, sounds about right for the sort of mix of cars that we see and being bought on the road these days.
I mean, there's only one in that list that I don't like.
That's going to be this very first one that I mentioned,
yes,
because they're in alphabetical order. In alphabetical order, they are the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, the Audi A8, the BMW 5 Series, the the Citroen C3 Aircross, the Kia Stinger, the Seat Ibiza, and the Volvo XC40. Now, they've not done the all at the same time, all on the same roads thing. That's coming up, I believe. It is the European Car of the Year because it's announced the day before the Geneva Motor Show.
Yeah, so yeah, it must be European. Yeah, I apologise for.
So it doesn't. It's not specific in this car thing. It should really make sure it says it's European.
Well, you can see the A8 because of the technology that Audi have thrown at it. Whether I agree with what's been done or not, take that to one side. Even I'm taking.
Or like its mouth.
Yeah. So you got the A8, you got the 5 Series, because when have they made a bad 5 Series? The C3 Aircross is pushing the envelope for Citroen, and seems to be getting quite good reviews really across the board. And it looks interesting, and it's taken on the Cactus sort of vibe, but made it more appealing. I think you got the Kia Stinger, which looks fantastic. I have to say,
it's such a departure, and I think
looks amazing. And it will be interesting to see whether they can get across the badge snobbery because of the price point.
It gets really good reviews.
Seat Ibiza, have they made a bad Seat Ibiza? Maybe the Blobby one was a little bit not so good.
The Blobby one wasn't great, and people would say that generally the original Giugiaro designed Porsche engine one wasn't actually awesome, mostly because it felt a bit. And I'm going to get slammed. It looked great. I'm going to get slammed for saying that. So
yes, you will. And the XC40 looks great, and it is a departure for Volvo. They are going into territory they haven't been in before. Looks fantastic. Again, that's just been journalists have just been getting hold of that. I think they're in Barcelona or something in the last week or so.
That picture by Simon Harris, by the way.
Well, all Simon lined up.
All like millimetric precision. I don't know.
Yes, it was very good.
Wonderful. Congratulations to the organisers and stuff.
And it looks fantastic in the blue, by the way. The metallic blue they've got looks great. And like I say, there's only the stinker, the Alfa Romeo stinker, that I don't really like the look of.
It's not the best, but everybody said it drove really well.
The thing is, it's a largest SUV. That's not my cup of tea. Everybody knows that. So when am I going to turn around and go, "Oh, that's absolutely gorgeous"? It's probably not going to happen. So, but having said that, it's an incredibly important car for Alfa Romeo.
It's more important than the Giulia. Yeah, definitely.
That has to succeed. Otherwise, I don't think we'll see more Alphas.
No,
we may go down the Lancia route, which but
if you think that last year's winner was the Peugeot 3008, then this year's winner is going to be a goodie.
Yeah, but the 3008 wasn't dreadful.
It's not bad either. No,
the refresh was a very good refresh, to be fair to them.
Yes, true. Couldn't get to the mute button quickly enough. I'm sorry.
So I mean, I'm more gobsmacked that the list is unrubbish.
Yes, so am I. I think it's a win already. I genuinely think it's a win already. And
no one looks like they've chucked a few million quid at the judges to get the car in. That's great.
Dangerous Those are dangerous statements.
I said looks like. I never said they actually did that.
Slightly
with their gold yachts and everything. No, they never. Right. Okay. And finally, I know it's a couple of weeks since the Race of Remembrance, but Alex Goy and Motor One UK have released a video about the 2017 Race of Remembrance. Whilst it does include a little bit about Alex and his involvement, I know for a fact, and I think he's done a cracking job of this, he didn't want to talk about him. He wanted to explain what the race is about. He wanted to explain what the whole event is about and why it's important. And he wanted to capture the people that were there and were involved in it, and who get a lot from it. And I think he's done in just over 11 minutes, a fraction over 11 minutes. He and his cameraman, whose name I did meet him briefly, but I can't remember his name, and I'm so sorry. I do apologize. I think they've done a fantastic job. They have done a fantastic job of capturing what the Race of Remembrance is there for, why it's important, and why we should, if we're going to support some sort of charity, seriously consider supporting this Mission Motorsport and what they do. Having been there and met a few of the people that are on the film, and I'm very grateful that I have met some of them, I got a lump in my throat watching this.
There may have been a blast of sand or something passed through my sitting room as I was watching this, because my eyes just started. There's a little bit of watering going on there.
Yeah, it's Alex has done. They've done a great job of telling the story, and please go watch it. And if you like it, give it the thumb. I'm not doing
like and subscribe. I'm not being stupid.
But yeah, I'm not. This is not in the cliche rubbish we're mocking YouTubers. Seriously, do it. Motor One is producing some good stuff, and I want to encourage, and I hope you all do, encourage more, not just reviews and not just fun bits to camera, but there's some serious stories out there that need to be told and need to be shared with us. And hopefully people like Alex and Motor One and other organizations can put these stories out and help us all see what actually goes on out there. I'm going to mention review again, but in my incredibly small way of what I wanted to do with review is to help people understand that the motor world is bigger than we think it is. It's not just me and Alan talking about the news. It's not just about supercars going sideways, burning smoke and shredding tires.
That's really what most people think of, rather than you and I talking about the news. But yeah.
Yeah, but if anybody's listening to us, then, they are listening to us, Alan.
Sure,
I always say talking about the news, they mean you sitting there quiet for a minute while I shout, and then once in 3 or 4 weeks, you get all shouty as well. So, but please go and let Alex know and the team know that if you have enjoyed it, that you enjoy it and that you want more of this sort of stuff, and hopefully he'll be in a position to produce it. But it is a cracking film, and it's helping to highlight a fantastic charity. So please do it.
It is, yes. Yes.
I only repeated the same thing about 4 or 5 times.
I know you did. It was
but that's how much it means to. I feel it means to me, and I have no connection to it. I just think it's a fantastic thing that they're doing.
Yes, I agree.
So
totally agree. Yeah, just like last time we talked about Race Remembrance, I'm not really sure where to go with this next. I can't find any sort of glib and silly.
There's nothing glib or silly to be said, really.
Not really. So yeah, so that was the end finally. So we're pretty much at the end. Couple of things, a couple of parish notes tonight. First one is, in case you haven't noticed and Andrew hasn't mentioned tonight,
what's that?
Review is back on Friday.
Is it? Oh God!
Yes,
I should have.
We will of course tweet and stuff, but unfortunately, tweeting doesn't always kick your podcatchers into life. So, can I ask you, particularly if you're on iTunes and a newish version of iOS or any of these things, unsubscribe and resubscribe again to get it to keep rereading the RSS feed. If you do that at this point in the week, then it should all be primed, and you should just get stuff at. I imagine you'll be up on Friday morning.
You'll get the last episode. If you do that, you'll get the last episode downloading automatically. So you get part 2 of Ken Tyndall, so you'll know it's worked.
Yes.
If you've already listened to that episode, you'll know it's worked. And I know it sounds like we're trying to beg for things, but it is important, because if by the way, iTunes may have just switched off the auto
download, so you won't know. So the thing is that the way our number counters work, by the way, is that they will see that that's coming from exactly the same IP address, and so we are not getting any extra bonus counts by asking you to do that.
No, we're not.
We're merely making it so we're not gaming the system. It's merely so that when Rearview comes through, Rearview will just automatically show up. So please don't think there's anything nefarious.
I'm not interested about the figures here. I just want you to hear the stories of these people. That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah. So there's that. Oh, the other one I keep getting earful about is that I said my Yaris the other week, and I've heard this 5 or 6 times from the co-owner of the Yaris. So this is just look, it's our Yaris, it's the Yaris, it's not mine. I misspoke.
Has the Yaris got a name?
Shut up and stop bugging me about this. Johnny the Yaris.
Johnny.
Yes.
So we'll just call it Johnny. Johnny the Yaris. That's from now on.
Johnny Yaris.
That is how the car will be referred to, and we will all know and accept that it is a joint ownership, even though you're the one who claims to have more fun from it, Alan. But there we go. Did I make it more difficult for you next time you have a conversation?
Just stop it. Stop talking now, Andrew. The last one is it's always great to see that some of our patrons are actually watching and listening along as we record this. What's even better is when they can't actually keep the abuse and disagreement back until we finished recording the show. For yes, I was getting abuse about talking about the first gen Seat Ibiza that way. I'm so sorry. You know who you are
already during the show.
During the show.
Wow.
That is real time audience.
We have proper patrons, proper listeners. I am very happy about that.
Yeah, only because it was me that was getting the grief.
Well, yeah, quite.
Thank you so much.
I wouldn't have known otherwise.
No, quite. Anyway, I'm going to round up, and I'm not going to corpse my way through it this week. So don't forget, please, that between now and next week, you can give us any feedback. Share your thoughts on the show at Motoring Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, on Facebook, and on the contact page of motoringpodcast.com, the hub of all our activities. Please don't forget about Patreon, even if it's so that you can give live abuse.
If there's the special access you're allowed.
Special access. I know. I don't think commenting's turned on, so they can't do live comments as we're speaking. One week I might be brave enough to do that. So you can get that from Patreon. However, if you're not in a position to be able to do that, then as I say, liking, leaving reviews and ratings on whichever podcast app you use makes a humongous difference to us, because the charts aren't just on download numbers. Andrew, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Best way to get in touch with me is via Twitter. If you search for Crack Windscreen, you will find me there. And Alan, if people want to get in touch with you, or maybe for later in the week, keep an eye on your Twitter account, because of something special, what would be the best way to do that?
Something special? I have no idea what you're talking about. Twitter, as ever, where I am at AJP Bradley, BIADLEY. As I said, as we might have mentioned, review back at the end of the week, and then the following week as well. Certainly, we will also be back next week. But until then, I've been Alan Bradley.
I've been Andrew Clues.
And safe motoring. By the way, for people, yes, this does turn me into... I've lost it now. There we go. I can actually turn myself into Mr. Man. There we go.
Mr. Tickle. Or tonight, Mr. Grumpy.
Yeah. A little bit, yeah.